Alright guys, we are back with a big series. It's a Rogue in the bottom left side. And his opponent in the top right, it's Zest. Both of these players playing for Dragon Phoenix Gaming, I believe. And what's interesting about this series is this came from Group A, it's the last champs tournament, and it's an elimination match. Now, why am I watching this? Why is this important? It's because Rogue just dropped the ball versus Laser. He took map 1 with an insane gamble that he got very lucky with, rushing mutas off of a gold base and 3-based versus a 2-base Roach Bush. Got away with it. And then he managed to throw the series away with some just silly mistakes. He went for a silly all-in in the next game. And this comes off the back of him being eliminated in Super Tournament to Bunny, a player who he's massively favored versus. And this is in the context of Rogue in the previous couple of months. What's he done? Oh, I don't know. One Super Tournament. He won TSL. He got second place to Maru in... was it GSL? I think it was, or something. No, it was the DreamHack season finals, the DreamHack winter season finals, right? Oh yeah. He also got top 4 in a GSL, barely losing to Zest. So this is a rematch of that series. Honestly, he's been on an absolute tear. He's been one of the few players who's looking anywhere near as hot as Maru in the last few months. But then he just loses to Bunny in the round of 8 or 16, I think, in the Super Tournament. And he loses his first round match to a Laser. We've got to look at this following match and say, hey, pull it together, Rogue. We know you're a gambler, but you are really, really, really good. And we're looking at this and going, how are his instincts? How are his gambling instincts? Is he tossing the dice at the right time? Is he flipping the coin at the right time? Because that's how Rogue plays StarCraft. And he's got a very dangerous opponent in front of him, a rock-solid Protoss player, and a Protoss player who's known for not playing very flexibly, for just kind of following a very efficient build, setting the meta, doing his timings, but he completely metamorphosizes when he's playing against Rogue. Up here is Zest, and Zest, he changes how he plays because he knows that Rogue is such a greedy corner cutter. He kind of, tries to be greedy and then surprise you with a big attack that's way more powerful than it should be. He'll try to like just rush mutas out at a super fast timing, have no defense on the ground. So Zest will often try to show him one thing and then do something else. So I'm going to keep my eyes on Zest and see, does he manage to trick Rogue as he's traditionally a player who can do that? Or are Rogue's instincts just going to be too tight here? And if so, is it enough to carry him through to another world championship around the corner? Or is he just going to bomb out? Because he's so hot and cold. It's kind of part of his play style because he does like to play StarCraft a bit more like it's poker. A lot of the best players like to hedge their bets. There's a lot more getting insurance and not taking chances. Oh, great play by Zest. Shuts down the scout. Catches that Zergling, anticipated right where it was going to be. Now, Rogue here does not scout. He just sees no warp gate research, assumes it's Stargate, goes to the left side of the map. So this was a perfect scenario. If Zest wanted to go Twilight, he could have just delayed warp gate a few seconds, gone Twilight, and he would have been able to catch Rogue off guard. That's something that he did a few times earlier in 2021. And I think it was season 1 where it felt like he should have beat Rogue because he tricked him at every turn and then kind of mind gamed himself, and he built the army that was countered by the counter to his previous feint. So I was like, the whole point of feinting is you get them to do something and then you counter what they're doing. But Zest made the classic mistake if he pretended he was going Clave Adepts, actually went Oracles, did some great damage with them, and then he went back into Glaive Adepts. But he'd already forced a whole bunch of roaches out of Rogue by faking Glaive Adepts in the first place. And I was like, this was a brilliant game plan up until the final step where you've played yourself, and it was a real bummer that Zest played himself in that one. But it was cool to see because Rogue always wants to counter you. He wants to get a read and counter you, and right now he sees a very standard macro game from the Protoss player. He's going to come in with a Zergling pressure. And not an efficient play for Rogue because 4 Zerglings for nothing. The Adept in the corner, Pylon gets damaged, but the Void Ray came back just in time. And this didn't even pull the Oracle back. Uh-oh. Drone's caught in the open. Quick evacuation though. Only loses 1 drone. Maybe a creep tumor. Nice play by Zest. Rogue is up on 3 mineral lines though. He's got his spores coming in at just the right moment. Pretty clean opening so far. I gotta say, I'm impressed, guys. 4 minutes 30, 6 queens. Yeah, he should be putting back on gas. It's already 4 minutes 30 and he hasn't put back on gas though. That worries me a little bit. So there we go. Lair and then straight into gases. He loves his quick lair, especially on a big map like this. I expect Rogue to go 6 gas right now and rush mutas. I expect double gas here in just a moment. This is actually one of his favorite plays recently is the big round of surprise mutas. It can be very powerful if it surprises the opponent. That being said, Zest, very standard second Stargate, forged to drop cannons. And seeing already lots of gases and a lair, Zest should feel pretty safe here. And I wouldn't be surprised if he just drops out his tech for his next stage. Robo, maybe Twilight? Twilight or Fleet Beacon is going to tell us if it's more of a ground transition or if he's going to go straight to carriers. The Robo, of course, does allow you to get disruptors out, which is very good for stopping Mass Queen Roach. Rogue is a big fan of playing late game Queen. Mass Queen with the Infestors, he loves it. Queens come forward, Oracle gets 2 kills, but it does take a bit of damage. Not going to be able to do too many of those. Zergling's still looking for information, but the Void Ray is denying it very well, protecting that probe rally. Third base gases are going down. Identical workers on both sides. I gotta say, if Rogue wants to play a macro game, I'm wondering where his 4th base is right now. And there we go. He's moving the drone out to that left side. You want that down before 6 minutes. If you're playing a macro game and you're not touching the Protoss and slowing them down, 6 minutes is kind of the latest in my mind. And the earlier, the better. If you can get it down at 5 minutes, it's super sick. Infestation Pit. Rogue's playing late game. Oracle comes in, grabs one more drone. Oh, barely gets out. Good Queen positioning, though. Does pull an extra drone there. And if that Oracle flies back, the Queens are ready to intercept. And there we go, guys. Fleet Beacon, 3rd. Stargate goes down. And a Robo Bay. So Disruptors, Carriers will be coming in. And he'll probably be adding the Charge and the Archons as the final piece. I would not be surprised to see a 4th base going down very soon. You can see that probe making its way there. Zergling might deny it, but nope, the Void Ray's there. 4th base at 6 minutes 30. Still no gases up on this base. 82 drones are out. Rogue is dropping a Spire. Guys, what's he doing? He's going Pathogen. Oh, he's going... Okay, yeah. Okay, he is going Infestors. Okay. This is really interesting. So he's going to go Pathogen Glands. And then what's he going to do? Is it just going to be like heavy Infestor for spamming Fungal out on the Interceptors with the Queens? Because that's a real defensive way. It's hard to ever push with that style. And does he go Broodlords or Ultras? Is this just for Corruptors? Or is he actually going to make a Great Aspire? Very curious to see what path he takes. I mean, I know exactly what Zest's going to do, guys. Twilight, he'll drop a Forge, a Templar Archives, a whole lot of Gateways. He's going to add a few Archons, some Charge Zealots, just to make it difficult for you to deal with his ground army, forces Rogue to build Ultras or Broodlords. And then he's going to have a few Disruptors underneath the fleet of Carriers and Void Rays. And what he's going to do is he's going to attack in, drop balls on the Queens to blow those up, try to focus down any Broodlords, Vipers, Infestors with his Carriers as quickly as possible. And that's going to be his goal, is roam around, do some Zealot run-bys. If the game goes long enough, he'll attack the top, and then his Mothership will fly in the bottom, and he'll recall into the natural. He'll do a lot of moves like that. Zest has done this many times before. There's no surprises in how he'll approach it, but Rogue, on the other hand, has a lot of options. So when this hive finishes, we'll find out a lot about what he's doing. Only one Evo chamber. That's kind of gross. Second Evo, if you're playing this late game, I feel like is 100% necessary. Those Carapace upgrades on a Mass Queen style, very important against the Void Rays and the Carriers. Rogue more tech focused right now, and he does go Great Aspire. 2 Vipers are out. He's got 5 Infestors that are going to gather a shit ton of energy. And he's actually spreading creep like a beast as well. So very well done here by Rogue. Up on 93 workers, and he takes the base in the middle. He wants to just cement this whole area of the map, and I like it. Just control this area, and then if you can actually cover this with spores, you might be able to like march forward. What is this? What the hell? Why are Queens here? That makes no sense. Okay. So Rogue right now wants to throw his Queens away. I don't know if they're accidentally on a control group they shouldn't be. Okay, thankfully he turns that around. Don't know if he was faking a push there or not. Maybe just trying to scare Zest. Could have been a bit of a mind game. Zest doesn't really care too much though. He's got cannons, he's got batteries, he's adding Archons. This is what he was going to be building anyway. 3 Carriers, 7 Void Rays, 2 Disruptors, lots of Zealots and Archons coming in. 1 Sentry for Guardian Shield, a very good idea. As those Queens, of course, will be shooting up. 20 more Zerglings on the way. Ultra Cavern comes in. Baneling Nest comes in. Still only 1 Evo Chamber. No melee upgrades. There we go. So he's going to go triple Evo now is Rogue. And yep, there we go. He's going to take the high ground. I love this. If you can get a central position like this with Broodlords above it, Infestors, Vipers, makes it much harder for the Protoss to push into you. But he's not quite ready. Oh, he's not quite ready. Zest's going to push him before he's ready. So the Spores, he might have to abandon this position. He has to. Yeah, he's got to pull back. Rogue's army's shit right now. He cannot fight right now. Zest always hits this timing, and so many of these Zergs aren't ready. He's got to back off. Where are the Spores? The Broodlords are in the open right now. He's kind of got to stand and fight. Balls coming in. Does get 2 of the Queens. Nothing game-changing there. The Broodlords morph in, but there's no... Where's the support? You've got no Spores. You've got no army. You've got nothing to deal with anything here. And he's just completely annihilated by a crisp 9 minute 30. attack from Zest. Carriers, Void Rays, Archons, Disruptors, Zealots. And he just overwhelms him. Rogue did not have his pieces ready to this puzzle. I've seen this so many times recently. This timing attack has become so common. Max Packs using it to great effect. Solar looking helpless against it in online weeklies. Zest using it all the time. And these Zerg players are trying to get all their insurance ready for the late game. They just do not have army. Massive supply deficit. And Rogue there, just dawdling his way towards that army. He could have had these units out and he could have pulled back from there. Let's go back a little bit and double check a few things. So what's going on? So he's going to Spore Crawlers way too early. He is not maxed out. So first things first, in this scenario, I do think you want more than 5 Broodlords. I think you want to get to about 10 Broodlords pretty much as quickly as possible. Now, of course, he was a little slow taking his 5th base. If you're going to this macro game, the earlier you get the 5th base gas, the better, because that allows you to go for those expensive things very early. We can also see that the Ultra Cavern was made as a bit of an afterthought. So he's really, really reliant on Broodlords. And as a result, Rogue should be aware that he's very weak right now. He also never built a single Roach. And a lot of players, they have Roaches left over from the early game, or they build a pack of Roaches just to help against the Zealot Archon. The fact that he skipped that, I mean, that's awesome if you survive, but you bloody well better have a goddamn alarm going, you know, in your head saying, I need Broodlords, I need Broodlords. And even right now, you're nowhere near max. Half your army is Zerglings. Queens on their own are absolute trash. And 5 Broodlords is not going to cut it against a whole bunch of, 17 Zealots and 3 Archons. I mean, I look at this and I got to say there is some big miscalculations going on for Rogue here right now. And this is the same thing I've seen from many Zerg players where they think, oh, Protoss is just going to sit there and make every upgrade in the game. Well, he is adding armor, he is adding +2 air, but only really as an afterthought. His big focus is maxing out, and yes, he finishes off this complex army with basic units, cheap units, Zealots and Archons, and they might not seem like the best, but if you're not maxed out, you're up 20 drones, you're building spores all over the map, most of which aren't going to actually help in the frontal fight. I think the priority for players has to be to get a little bit closer to max supply before investing in so many spores, and to really prioritize, especially with this queen style. You've got enough queens to fight the Void Rays, and especially with fungal and so on. For Rogue, it's just this Broodlords needed to be quicker. They were not as fast as they could have been. He dawdled on his Hive, he dawdled on his Great Spire, and then he only made 5 Broodlords. This absolutely could have been a little bit faster. Zest was completely untouched at home, so you need to rush towards those power spikes, and the Broodlord is the biggest power spike. It enables the Queens, the Infestors, the Vipers, all to be effective units. And it turns out a little too risky building these spores here. Should have built them further back and then moved them forward. Rogue was already thinking about how he was going to win, and that was moving his spores here and sieging his opponent with Broodlords and abducting units. He should have been thinking about how to survive, because you know Zest is not a late game god. You're a much better late game player than Zest Rogue. You do not need to focus on how to kill him. He's going to come to you every single time. Game 1 goes to Zest. All right, guys, so we've got the desk smash footage from that first game over here. Let's take a little look-see at that. Oh, Shizzle Fizz. Oh, he accidentally paused the pause in the final. No way. The pause in the final fight was actually from him smashing his desk. Guys, this is from that first game. And look at, oh my God, that's actually, he's so pissed off at losing here. He was so well set up. He punches his desk and accidentally pauses. Oh my God, that's so funny. That's so funny. Oh shit. Oh, that sucks, man. A brutal game 1 for Rogue up here in the top right of Hardwire. Looked like he was very well set up for that late game. I was like, oh, these upgrades are a bit late, but I mean, hey, he's rushing the tech, so it should be in time. Unfortunate for him though, man. Gets caught out by none other than Mr. Zest. So let's put down that 14 pylon. Now, 14 pylon on this map I didn't think was early enough to block a 16 hatch. Correct me if I am wrong, Mr. Zest, but I think if he goes down there right now with a drone... No... Can you get there before 48 seconds? I don't think so. Zest messing up his opening here. Rogue can turn back and get that... Oh, Rogue, what are you... Rogue! What do you... Pay attention! Oh my God, Rogue was so assuming he was going to be blocked because Zest always blocks the base. He didn't even look. The whole point there is you click to the third. If you don't see a probe, you go, oh, cool, and you take your natural. Rogue there with a really silly mistake. Zest made a mistake. Rogue does not punish it. Rogue misses an opportunity. For those who don't know, Rogue did punch his desk after that game in Last Chance, people are saying. Apparently that previous game he was not happy with it. Apparently on the camera they saw him punch the desk. Which, yeah, a little frustrating. A lot of Zerg players there don't like sitting back that long. I would have liked to see him try one of his Mutalisk styles, but Zest, of course, is pretty damn good at handling it. We'll see what happens. Zest just circling the base. Nexus into Cybercore. Very standard play. And Rogue, doing a noob, just leaves a drone chasing the probe. That's what I do. I like it. I like that Rogue does the same thing I do. It makes me feel better. Thought he was going to go for a hatchery for a moment, but nope, just going to follow it. Just doesn't want that probe to distract him too much. And nice harassment from Zest, being very annoying. We see the double queen, 4 Zerglings building, very standard. Zest will hang around. He says, hey, I know there's a few seconds till those Zerglings are ready. I can be annoying. My name's Zest. Got your minerals, dickhead. Sticks up his middle finger over his shoulder as he runs away. Heh, took your fucking minerals, you shit. Zergling's going to try and get the punish. Zest, though, has his eyes open, watching. Sees the lings come out, pulls away. The other 2 Zerglings are already trying to hide. They came out of the 3rd base, so they're trying to hide from the probe, get across the map, dodge the Adept, and then get inside for a scout. Already pulling his Overlord back. Oh, that's interesting. What is that? So he's pulling back and then going back to the exact same spot? How bizarre. I don't know why you do that, because you're going to get back there at the same time as the Void Ray comes down. There's some next level mind games going on with this Overlord that I don't even pretend to understand, guys. I don't know why he said to get back there. It's weird. He's like, I was pretending to leave, but I'm not really. The Void Ray, of course, will rally to it. 3rd base is here, still just 1 worker on gas. Now, I really do like it. So Rogue likes to be very mineral greedy and skip roaches as much as possible versus Protoss. This has been one of the reasons why he just dies a lot of the time, is if a Protoss player surprises him with an attack, they mask it well, they'll catch him with about 8 Zerglings, 6 Queens, and nothing else. And they'll just kill him. Any ground attack kills Rogue unless he sees it coming. So it's all, he needs to get a good read on what's happening. We were mentioning this earlier. If he has a good read, he'll cut the right corners and counter exactly what you're doing, but not one to take safety precautions. So he leaves 1 worker on gas and then doesn't put back on gas for ages. He's always super mineral focused. I think one of the weaknesses is that Rogue, you just don't have to worry about queen walks. I don't know the last time he did a queen walk, so you don't even have to worry. And you can play a bit greedier as Zest here, and I think Zest is very aware of that. But what this does is he's going to get enough gas to stake a very fast lair by about 4 minutes 30 is when he gets that 100 gas, right? 4 minutes 30, 440, very fast lair for this meta where you're building lots of spores and queens on 3 base against Oracle and Void Ray harass. A lot of minerals need to be going elsewhere. Does leave his Overlords out front. Bit of a mistake there. Is going to cost him an Overlord. Does pull back. We've got the Oracle coming in the left side. Shouldn't find much. Just gets 1. Goes for the 2nd drone. Does take a lot of damage for it though. Queen does chase the Void Ray. Gets a fair bit of damage. Not bad. So as I said, see, he's got 100 gas. So he can make a lair now about 4 minutes 30, which is a very quick lair. But other than that, it's pure minerals. Drones, 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 queens, queens, drones, queens. Enough Zerglings just to defend the Adepts. And then he just wants to push that economy to the extreme limit. And then he plays it like a rule of 1 gas, right? He puts back on gas super late, and then he explodes into gas. So he should go double gas, and he probably take some more gases in the near future. Probably that one. I think he likes to take that one first, and you can see he re-rallies this hatchery to its own mineral line. Same with that one. Same with this hatchery. He's got the Roach Warren on the way, which he puts down very late at 5 minutes. You'd want to put that down about 4:30 if you were more worried about there being, say, a Glaive Adept timing coming. But Rogue, always happy to play on the line of greed, and he's not even going to build roaches unless he absolutely has to. And that's just Rogue in a nutshell, mate. He does not want to build roaches. He thinks of them as a bad unit. They are kind of a bad unit, right? He says, look, roaches and ravages are only good either for defending a big attack or doing your own big attack. You don't want to just be sitting with Roach Ravager with no purpose. So Rogue tries to play a very flexible and defensive style here, where he only builds the units that he wants to build, the units that he needs to build. And we're going to see a Spire go down the moment this Revelation wears off. Check this out. Spire. Right now. Come on, Rogue. Don't tease me, bro. I know you're going to put it down. Building 3 more queens and a roach speed? But there's no Evo chamber. Oh, he's going to do a roach queen headbutt. Oh, he's doing a dumbass attack. Why is he putting 14 zerglings? Okay, I'm really confused now. Because he's not droning his 4th yet, which he could already be droning and then have it saturated when it finishes. He's not rushing Evos. Now he drops a Spire, but it's a really late Spire. And his queens aren't defending the Oracle. I'm so confused right now. I think he wanted to fake a queen walk with his queens at the front. Ends up taking a fair bit of damage. The Evo chamber gets spotted. That's a sign of an economy focus. That means I don't think Zest's worried about a queen walk right now. I think Zest is very confident. He's got his 4th base up. And Rogue, it feels like he's umming and ahhing a little bit. I think he wants to do a queen corruptor roach push is what he's doing. So he's got 4 drones getting trapped. I mean, what is going on? Get rid of this bloody Oracle, mate. The carriers are coming now. Look at this. Zest is like, what are you doing, dude? He's trying to scout around with Void Rays. It does have a Void Ray there. I love that cannon surrounded by the pylons. Not much you can do there as Rogue. And going to catch a Void Ray. Very nice. That's a good pick off. He's going to start to break these rocks. So he's building 3 more queens. So it's going to be 14 queens, 10 corruptors, and then he's going to rally some Roach Ravager as well. But Zest sees this coming miles away. He's already got carriers on the way. He's already building a disruptor. A few more cannons and batteries would definitely be helpful. I think there's a part of Zest that's kind of wondering, is this even real? Builds a Twilight Council on a whole bunch of gateways. Are you really committing to this? Mutas! What the fudge? Huh? Mass Queen Mutaling? Okay, Rogue's a genius or he's an idiot. We're about to find out. I honestly, I don't know which one. This is just Rogue in a nutshell. He's going Mass Queen Mutalisk. I don't even understand. I don't even pretend. So it's 10 mutas that are going to go do run-bys in the mineral lines, but it's so late for mutas. And then he's just doing a maxed Queen Roach push. I feel like he'd be better off just doing the Queen Roach alone. Raynor style. I mean, either way, he will be maxed out pretty soon. Does need to build a few more Overlords, and indeed they are on the way. The Observer's been seeing the mutas popping out though, right? He's got a cannon in the main. He's got 3 carriers, 5 Void Rays. The mutas will get A moved. So the trick is the mutas need to distract, and then the army needs to do something elsewhere. But he doesn't seem ready to dive elsewhere yet and really do anything. So, okay, the mutas come in. There's no battery, so they'll kill the cannon, but then the Void Rays and the carriers are there. He's like, I got 5 probes. I'm very confused. Zerglings run into that base. It looks like they killed a few more probes and maybe died of the zealots there. At the end of this, okay, so he's traded 10 mutas for 10 probes. This is not a good trade. It's still a 4-base Protoss. Zest can reprobe instantly. And now he's maxed on Roach Ravager Queen, which he needs to be fighting with right now. There's already 2 disruptors. Rogue's plan doesn't make any sense. This is too late. Raynor was already pushing the envelope at Katowice last year when he went at 8 minutes 30 with max out. Just like 8 minutes 15, 8 minutes 20, he was already there. We're hitting at like 9 minutes 30. You cannot let a Protoss player max on Skytoss Disruptor and then attack them with Queen Ravager. This is literally trying to fight off a man wielding a machete with a banana. It doesn't make any sense. This is such a bad matchup compositionally. There's so much static here. Cannons, batteries, the disruptors are being dodged pretty well. But I mean, it's just Mass Ravager Queen. It's such a silly army. This is just it's a shooting range. It's a shooting gallery. The disruptors of Zest walking into the biles to their death. One of them sitting off to the side. Oh, Zest, please control group your disruptors and pull them back. He's pulling them back. He can just run probes away from this base. Even if he loses this base, it's not a big deal. Zealots catch the rally. The mutas actually kill a couple of probes there, going for the gas guys. The disruptors go way too far forward. Very, very risky with those disruptor shots. I don't really like them shooting them out all at once. He's got to get his disruptor count up and wait for the units to be committed. He will lose his 3rd Nexus. Zealots do counterattack though. Rogue is going to kill a base. A base is not what you need to kill when you're maxed on shit tier units though. Right now, Rogue is going, yes, we slayed a base. But the problem is, yes, you slayed a base, but like, your army's crap. It's just queens. Oh, big balls landing. Look at how much Zealot Archon slays against Queen Ravager as well. Because Queen Ravager doesn't do much damage here. He kills a bunch of them, trades his expendable units, trades some interceptors. He's still tearing up the rally point. Finally, Zest gets on top of that. Oh, he's been healing his Nexus with the battery overcharge. He saves his Nexus. You're absolutely kidding me. Zest here, just smashing through. The Disruptor gets 2 Ravagers, clips a Queen there as well. I mean, that's a lot of Queens, but this an attack is not, me not think is good. And this is such a surprising strategy. I mean, I get Rogue is a creative guy and how he solves problems, and it's why sometimes he crushes, but I don't know what he was thinking with this build, man. What the hell was with the super delayed Spire and the 10 mutas? I would have preferred he just go straight for this push, and I don't know, he's just getting wiped. Like, this is not, the balls hard counter his army. This is, I mean, this is super, super crushing. Unless he just eats Biles with his whole army or something. I mean, his carriers are kind of AFK for a moment there. The Disruptor's running forward to their death again. And fighting the Spores, but yeah, I don't really see this one working out very well. GG! Zest just shuts it down. What was that build order? So Rogue here, he's trying things out in big Premier tournaments and going out in last place. This is the elimination match, guys. He lost to a laser, lost to Zest, goes out in last place in DreamHack Last Chance. And it comes off the back of a kind of string of weird performances for Rogue, where he's had some great plays, but he's also had some weird ones. And I feel in this game, he didn't push his economy super hard. And he just kind of massed queens and then went for very delayed mutas that were not hitting at a crisp timing. I don't know. To me, this did not feel like a very inspired game plan. I would have rathered he just make Bane speed and roll in on these mineral lines. This does not bode well for Katowice. That being said, there's been a bit of time between this tournament and Katowice. Rogue, he goes through periods of massive, just crazy strategies that don't work at all, and then killing everybody in really one-sided affairs and looks like an absolute genius. Who knows? I have seen players go on an absolute hot streak, they get to the biggest, most important tournament, and then they fall apart. Do you guys think Rogue is about to power up? He got his silly games out of him, and he's going to show up with his best form and actually have really effective weird play at Katowice? Or is he going to show more of the 8-minute delayed 10 muta into Mass Queen Ravager 9.5 minute not interesting or not effective push at all? Because I was not impressed by this. I don't see how you're ever going to catch a Protoss out of position with mutas this late in the game, and Mass Queen Ravager hitting that late. The Protoss is almost maxed out. Queens and Ravagers are some of the least supply efficient units for their damage output. I just don't know how you're ever supposed to beat a Protoss player that's macroed correctly. And I mean, the supply differential looks pretty good here, but look at how much that gap closes over these next few seconds. The Disruptors especially. I mean, if he's not building Disruptors, maybe this works, but he was building Disruptors the whole time. Very well played.